And welcome to Hannity Tonight. It was an act of terror.
Based on the information and the facts as we know them, we are now investigating these horrific acts as an act of terrorism.
The FBI is now investigating the San Bernardino massacre that killed 14 people as an act of terrorism carried out by a pair of radical Islamists right here on U.S. soil. Now, according to government officials, Farook and his wife extensively plotted their attack. They stockpiled weapons and ammunition, constructed multiple IEDs inside the apartment where they were raising their 6-month-old baby. And that's not all. Today, a Facebook official confirmed that the female suspect pledged allegiance to ISIS in a post at the very same moment that she was waging jihad with her husband. And this is now the single deadliest terrorist attack on American soil since 9/11. And earlier today, attorneys for the suspect's family made outrageous comments during a press conference. Listen to this.
There's never been any evidence that either of the two alleged shooters were aggressive, had extremist views.
I think every investigation that the FBI does when it's involving a Muslim will involve some type of terrorist investigation for it.
When a Christian goes to shoot up a Planned Parenthood, or an extreme Catholic goes and bombs an abortion clinic, all the headlines don't say extremist, radical, Christian.
Joining us now with reaction, the Major General Horner, Distinguished Chair of Military Theory at Marine Corps University, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, let's start with the new developments today. By the way, I guess widows and orphans mean that women can be terrorists, too, if we're taking in Syrian refugees. But your reaction to what you heard at that press conference, almost complete denial by the family attorney, which is very disturbing, and the new developments that they, in fact, were radicalized.
Well, Sean, I think that attorney should apply for a job with care. Absolutely stunning. This waffling about religions and freedom of religion. What about the freedom of religion of the victims that were gunned down in Los Angeles by these two jihadists? Of course, this is an ISIS attack. Let's just get the political correctness, jettison that right now. If you're swearing bayat, if you're swearing allegiance to the head of ISIS as your new caliph, as your new emperor, I don't care if ISIS was sending detailed instructions to these pair of mass murderers. This is an ISIS attack because it is following their ideology and their intent to destroy the infidel on U.S. soil. It's really that simple, Sean.
There was a poll out that showed that 16% of French citizens actually supported ISIS. Now, they've had an open immigration system. We now know that the DHS actually cleared this woman with a Pakistani passport. And by the way, she got a K-1 visa, and then she got a green card. Now, the president wants to take in 10,000 Syrian refugees. Our intelligence officials are warning they can't properly vet them. I'm arguing that the president's gambling with the lives of the American people. In light of these developments, in light of what happened in France with the refugee population infiltrated by ISIS, how big a risk do you see this as?
It's enormous, Sean. My parents were refugees, so let's take the emotion out of it. When they escaped communist Hungary, they had to sit in a refugee camp for weeks, some of their relatives for months, until what? Until they were cleared and could prove that they were truly persecuted individuals who deserved to come to the West. Director Comey is absolutely correct out of the Bureau. There's only two ways to vet a refugee. Number one, check their information against a reliable database. We don't have access to databases in Syria that could even help us mildly or moderately vet these people. And the second is extensive counterintelligence interrogations lasting days, if not weeks. And we don't have the manpower to do that, and this administration wouldn't even countenance such a counterintelligence measure. So if you're ISIS, what are you going to do? You're going to salt your operatives in these refugees, exploit the situation, and endanger Americans in America, Sean.
He's gambling with their lives, is my argument. We now have a president that is incapable, seemingly, to recognize simple and basic and fundamental truths. He can't even use the term radical Islam. But he claimed, the president, he's been so wrong so often. This is the JV team. They are contained, contradicted by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and by Dianne Feinstein, and then saying they do not represent an existential threat to America. Wrong on all fronts. How can the President of the United States be at this level of denial, which is now bordering on a pathological illness of some kind?
I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's the naked king, the naked emperor. Nobody in his bubble wants to tell him what the truth is. This is clear that he's isolated from America and from the threat. And second, it's an incredible combination of arrogance and ignorance. We have people in the White House, deputy national security advisors, whose qualifications are a master's degree in fictional writing and fine arts. Since when does that qualify you to protect America and understand the threat? We have incompetence mixed with arrogance and combined with isolation, and that's how we are in this Alice in Wonderland fantasy today, where the commander-in-chief thinks that global warming or climate change is more important than terrorism and the caliphate.
Wow, very well said. We appreciate it, Dr. Gorka. Thank you for being with us.